because look where I am. I am back in the classroom today because I had something very special to show you. What do you see behind me? Don't worry, it's just a video, because this week our lesson is all about this little guy. We are talking about bees. Bees are wonderful and they are such great helpers for our environment. We couldn't have all the foods that we eat if we didn't have bees. Now there's something right here behind me, beside me. It is called a bee box or a bee hive. Now don't worry, this isn't a real beehive. Miss Hall would not have a real beehive in her classroom. But this is actually a beehive that if you did put it outside and you had a swarm of bees, they would live in this box. And you can see, I don't know if you can see it through the video, but there's just the tiniest of a hole, about the size of a dime. It's very tiny, but it's the perfect hole size for a bee. And from there, the bees fly into this hive. And if I were a real bee farmer and I wanted to get my honey, I would take the lid off of this box, and inside would be the hive of bees. This is where they would live. This is where they would be making their honey. Now, if this were real, Mrs. Hall would have to have on a bee suit. And I would also have to have a smoker to kind of smoke these bees to keep them calm. So I wouldn't want them to sting me. Even though they're really not, bees are not, they don't come after you to sting you. They come after you because they're scared, or maybe you're bothering their flower. But in here, each one of these little things is where the bee would actually build its hive out of wax. This is where the honey would be. And this right here, this is a perfect picture of the bees making their hive out of wax, filling it with honey. And it says perfect architecture because really it is. Each one of those holes, if measured, is almost exactly the same size as the other. How do you suppose, here's my unanswered question, how do you suppose they know how to do that? They don't have rulers, they don't have building tools, but each little hole is perfectly designed. I think that's pretty amazing. The other thing that bees do, which I think is really neat, is bees have their own fan system. If it is too hot, and we know it gets really hot here in the summer, but if it's too hot, bees will start waving their wings. And they do this inside the nest to keep the queen bee, and there's only one, they keep that queen bee nice and cool so that she can stay calm and continue to have more baby bees. Now, speaking of something that's really neat, look at this. A bee and the honey. Now, a bee makes all of this honey, and inside your packet this week, you're going to have lots of facts about bees. And I think you might be surprised to learn that a bee, one single bee makes very little honey in its entire life. But a bee, a whole colony of bees working together, make a whole lot of honey. And that's something that I know Mrs. Hall enjoys. I use it in my coffee or my tea. Connor uses it on his toast. We love honey at the Hall house. And bees, they love honey too. And you can see all of these bees in the hive making their honey. Now, right here, if this were a real colony, a lot of beekeepers will actually put a mark, just like this, on their queen bee. And that way, when they go in to check on those queen bees, they can see, okay, she's there. The hive is all around her, taking care of her, and she's doing her job, which is making more bees for that colony. So she has a very important job, and all these other bees, every single one of them, either the worker or the soldier bees, they all do their job to take care of her. Now, if you see a bee out and about in your garden, just know that these little sacs right here, They are going from flower to flower, from fruit to fruit, from vegetable to vegetable, and they are collecting pollen. That pollen they use to protect themselves, to keep themselves safe inside the hive with food, and that's how they feed their young. That's what they use to make their honey. So anyway, you guys, I think that's pretty neat. So next time you see a bee flying around, look for that little pollen sac on their back leg. Chances are they have some pollen with them. Well, that's all I can share today about bees. I hope you guys go in and explore the bee packet. We put a thing in there for the parts of the bees, so you can look in and figure out which parts of the bee. It's very similar to spiders, except bees are insects with 6 legs. So take a look, and I hope to see you guys soon. Bye-bye. Love you.